So what is going on, guys? I am Black Ops Amazing. Welcome back to another video on the channel. Now, DLC 2 has already been teased to us through Citadel Demo. We know exactly where we're going to be going, what it's called, along with where it's going to be, and on top of that, we have already seen an image of this. And the best part is, this is all official information you can find in BO6, given to us by Troyok, and you can go one step further and explore the map for yourself in-game, because it's actually a part of the new Warzone map, Avalon, which is due to come out next year. So let's just take it back to the start. In the Citadel Demo ending cutscene, they tease where we are going for our next zombies map. In Citadel, we collected the amulet. Just before Kraft died, he told us that we need to take it to the excavation site, and then after he passes, Revanov says the dig site he mentioned, it's not far, and that's where we are heading next. But that's not the only thing we have. There is a document you can find called Some Context, which is a dossier from Richtofen to Franco, which reads, "I've drawn a crude map of the Viella Villa," I've probably said that wrong, "where our man has been sighted. He's clever, but you know that about him. He changes his routine often, but always comes back to the Troy Spellers." Can they just stop with these names I can't pronounce? "In the late morning for a coffee, sips at the counter, then leaves. He has security. Well, a large man, leather duster, vacant eyes, you know the type, whom he never engages in conversation with, but is clearly trained. Proceed with caution, he may not be the only one." Kraft also makes frequent visits to the market. He speaks with a kindly old woman with a black and white Havanese. Find her. Use her to get him. I've also attached a photo of the excavation site to remind you of Kraft's importance. We do not know where Kraft lives. Find him, follow him, and locate his residence. Abducting him from his home will attract less attention than snatching him off the street. I need not remind you of the importance and sensitivity of this matter. Do your job. I am paying you enough. So Richtofen mentions in this letter to Franco that he's attached a photo of the excavation site to remind him of Kraft's importance. And if we look at this photo, that is our first official teaser image of the next zombies map. We see the excavation site. There is a stone face that is being excavated out of the dirt. There are temples in the background, although everything looks to be ruined. And the funny thing about this is you can actually find this exact location within the new Avalon Warzone map. Anyone can access this in game and look at it for yourself. All you've got to do is go into a private multiplayer match, and if you play as the Codcaster on Lowtown, you can go into free roam and you will notice that this multiplayer map is actually set on the entire Warzone map. So you can leave the boundaries of this area and explore the entire Warzone map that isn't even due to release until next year. It's crazy. And like I said, what's even more insane is if you just do a bit of exploring, you will eventually come across on a hilltop the exact same excavation site you saw in the zombies image. Because the Warzone map isn't finished yet, it hasn't been released, and Lowtown is a multiplayer map, you're not supposed to be able to go this far out of bounds. That means everything around here, because you're not supposed to get this close, is just rendered really low quality, but you can tell this is the exact same area of our next zombies map, even without the detail. And you can even match up the exact same location, because on the floor you can see that statue being excavated, and then the background lines up, so we can begin to explore at least a little bit of the zombies map already. Now, one thing I will say is you will notice this is a really small area, which for me leaves two possibilities. The zombies map will be much bigger than this. Similar to Berry, there will be a below ground section that isn't a part of the Warzone map that we're going to be able to explore, and the above ground section is tiny, as you can see here, or only this small portion of the zombies map has been reused in the Warzone map. The zombies map will be much bigger, there'll be a lot more to it. Troyok have just decided to reuse this small portion of it and place it into Warzone. Or the third possibility is, if you actually go just to the left a tiny bit, you will notice another excavation site, but you might recognize this one because it's the Dig MP map from Black Ops 2. Is there the possibility you spawn in this area and then go through tunnels to access the Dig MP map? Could that make up a large portion of the zombies map? We don't know yet. Either way, this area you are seeing here is clearly just a small part of it. The map, when it does come out, because we still have a long way to go yet, we've only just had Citadel Demo. Just taking a guess, I would say the next zombies map dig site is going to release maybe March, so we still have about 3 months to wait yet. That is a lot of time for Troyok to develop the map and add whole new areas, but what we do get a look at is at least a very small portion of it in this teaser image, and you can find it in Warzone. A lot of people were speculating because when Kraft said take the amulet to the excavation site, and then Revanov tells us it's nearby, because Citadel takes place in Avalon, which is in France. We had another zombies map previously called Excavation Site 64, which was Origins, that also took place in France. People were putting the two together and saying, hang on, that must mean DLC 2 then is the Origins excavation site. But the chance of that is like 0.1%. We literally have evidence in the game showing this dig site right here is also located in Avalon, so this is the location, not Origins. But there could be the chance that you can see Origins off in the distance, or maybe a part of Origins will be included in this new map. Part of that map, maybe the mound leaks through the Dark Ether and becomes included in it. I think that's possible, but the next map is not Origins. Before all of this, and even before Citadel came out, we actually had leaks telling us of all 4 DLC maps we were going to be getting in Black Ops 6 Zombies. We were told that DLC 1 was going to be called The Keep, which has turned out to be true. That is Citadel Day More. We were then told that DLC 2 was going to be Mansion, DLC 3 was Janus Towers, and DLC 4 is Dig Site. We now know that Dig Site is going to be DLC 2, not 4, but so far, besides from the order of DLC 2, those leakers have got both maps right so far, meaning the likelihood of us having those other 2, Mansion and Janus, is even higher now. Perhaps in DLC 3 we still go to Janus Towers, but instead, DLC 4 is now Richtofen's Mansion. So we more than likely know the names and rough locations of all of the other DLC maps, but just going back to the image, on the ground we have the statue. I did quite a few videos during Black Ops Cold War talking about Project Janus, or I keep wanting to call it Janus, but Janus was actually a god that had 2 heads. I've showed statues of him many times before, but you can see the similarities. Could this statue on the floor that's been excavated be Janus? And then all around here, because this was a Roman god, I'm assuming you've got Roman temples, which we can get a closer look of by exploring the Warzone map. Even though everything is untextured, there are 2 or 3 tunnels we can clearly make out that you can go through. One of them just takes you to the other side of this rock. There is another tunnel entrance that takes you quite deep underground over to the Dig Site multiplayer map. This temple right here has a bit of detail in it. You can tell there are 2 golden balls in there, but if I had to guess, I would say this is more than likely the spawn area of the map, and then we're going to be able to go underground. That would be my best guess anyway. In terms of the storyline, we are taking the amulet here for the Sentinel artifact, but because it's DLC 2, I feel like we aren't going to be getting the artifact in this map. Surely because it's such a big thing, that would happen in like DLC 3, but more than likely DLC 4. So maybe they come here, they fail, find out that it's located somewhere else in Richtofen's Mansion, or they find it, but in order to activate a certain trial, they have to travel to Richtofen's Mansion. I don't know. And if the statue is of the Roman god Janus, then surely this will be involved in the main Easter egg as well. Whilst I'm still on the topic of the story, there is a radio in Citadel, which is a conversation between someone called Sir Archibald and Alistair Rhodes, where they discuss a certain archaeological site that they are excavating to obtain the Sentinel artifact.
I'd like to begin by expressing my gratitude for your eagerness, Sir Archibald.
Nonsense, old boy. I won't hear a word of it. I'd be a fool and a rank amateur to pass on an opportunity to collaborate. Your research is so thorough, not to mention groundbreaking.
Yes. Well, your endeavor is integral to my work, and we will both reap the benefits. Now, it's of vital importance that you don't let the reputation of the place color your senses.
Yes, I've been conducting inquiries as to the procurement of local workers, but thus far it's all been coming up a little empty. As far as I can tell, no one wants a damn thing to do with the place. If you ask me, the whole thing smacks of hysteria, which, between us, could be quite the positive. What? Makes it more likely the site's not been looted already.
Indeed. I'll shoulder the cost for you to recruit outside the area. Some sturdy ruffians is what's called for. You'll need the muscle. Given the amount I'm shelling out, I expect you to run a tight ship, Sir Archibald. This excavation is to be efficient, targeted, discreet, and do not return without the artifact in hand.
You have no fear. I wouldn't dream of it. We Fotherington Smythes are a tenacious lot once we set our minds to something.
Good man. I wish you luck on your travels. I imagine we'll be much changed the next time we see one another. Now, another spot of port.
Rather.
So some information there from Rhodes and Archibald discussing extracting the Sentinel artifact from the excavation site. But yeah, this is our next zombies map, so there we go. As always, hopefully you've enjoyed the video today. If you have, drop a like rating. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel to stay up to date with the latest videos on the channel. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Until then, goodbye.